Hi, everybody. It's Dawn Fisher, Morning Glory Needleworks. So glad you're here. I'm glad to be here too. Welcome to my 8th FlossTube video. I'm so excited. And I just, again, want to thank everybody who subscribed, commented, liked my videos. It really helps. It makes me feel like I'm reaching out to people. So I hope you'll continue to comment and like, and let me know what you think of what's going on. As always, I always say that this at the beginning, all the links for everything I talk about are listed in the description. It'll say something like, welcome to my 8th FlossTube video, and there'll be a whole bunch of stuff. And if you hit more, it will bring up the whole section where I talk about the video and what's going on. And then there'll be links in the bottom. My email address is in there, my Etsy shop, my Facebook page, my the Stitch of the Month Club. And I have a few other things that I will list that I'm going to be talking about. So, you know, be sure to check that out. And as always, I'm hoping you'll join the Stitch of the Month because that's fun. Last month we did satin stitch. So we'll see what people request for May. Anyway, it's the 15th of April, 2022. And so let's get started. Again, I want to give a little life update. I like to do that so people can get to know me a little bit. I don't want to talk about too much, but as I mentioned in previous videos, Jeffrey, who's my significant other, and I have joined the YMCA through the Silver Sneakers program, which is free. If you're over 65, it's free. So we've joined. We have a beautiful Y here. They have so many classes you could go like from morning till night every day of the week. Plus they have all the workout equipment and swimming pool and all that. But we're still loving it. We're going 4 days a week now. 2 days a week we do Tuesday and Thursday is a class called Strength, Balance, and Stretch. And it's partially seated. And we work with weights and balls and these Pilates hoops and all sorts of things I'd never heard of, stretching bands or tension bands. And then on, we just recently started going on Wednesdays and Fridays to chair yoga. And now that sounds easy, sitting in a chair, but let me tell you, it's not. She definitely works us out. Both the classes can be done seated, but if you're able, through about half of the class, they do stand up too, because they don't want you just sitting all the time. If you can get up, they'll get you out on your feet and moving. And in the one class, you'll be using the tension bands and the Pilates hoop and the ball and doing different exercises. And the yoga, we just love it. It has made a world of difference. It's already helping. I mean, after the first class, Jeffrey walked out and he said, my back doesn't hurt anymore. And his back kind of aches all the time. So that was amazing in itself, that with one class, just the stretching, it has helped his back. And so the instructor in that class works a different body area. She doesn't do the same movements all the time. She works, she sees what you want to work on. And then like if you want to work on your back and your shoulders, your neck, your legs, whatever, she'll do a little section on that. But it's a lot of standing and stretching, and there's a lot of strength. You know, I could feel it in my legs, things she has you do with your legs and standing, and it's wonderful. We just love it. And to me, it's very peaceful. A lot of the class you can do with your eyes closed. She takes the lights down, and to me, it's just like going into myself and thinking about my body and what these exercises are helping my body. You can actually feel the difference. So anyway, that's our fun thing we're doing right now. And I also have a little bit for us. It's a little exciting for us. If you've watched some of my other videos, I don't talk about it a lot, but 2021 was a pretty challenging year for Jeffrey and myself. Mostly Jeffrey. He had a mild stroke. I talked about it in the last video that it has aphasia. It has improved a lot. He can read pretty well now. He doesn't, at first he couldn't hardly read, but he can read pretty well now. He's almost back to normal, and his speech is very good. And then also during this same time frame, he had a problem with his foot. I'm not going to go into details, but anyway, he was in the hospital and rehab for 2 months. It was very difficult, very hard. And he ended up having his the bottom half or below the knee of his right leg amputated. He's doing wonderful. He has a new leg. He's walking around. He uses a walker still because he's not quite steady yet. But it's actually been 10 months, I think, since he had that surgery. So he's doing really well. He has a really cool prosthetic leg that they put, he's a bass guitar player. So we sent him a picture and they actually made his leg with all these bass guitars on it. So it's really cool. So it makes him even want to wear it more because it's cool. But anyway, so for all this time, it's probably been almost a year since he has driven. He hasn't been able to drive because they took his right, or it was his right leg, which is the leg you drive with. So last week, we went out and to the mall. There's a big, huge empty parking lot there. And we went out and he actually drove around. He's learning to drive using his left foot. He may try and drive with his right, but it's with the prosthetic, the foot doesn't bend. It's a little bit different. So he's just trying it out. He drove around the parking lot. So that's very exciting. The fact that he wants to drive and he'll be able to get around on his own. He can get in the car on his own. At first, I used to have to put everything in the car. First it was a wheelchair and then the walker, but now he can do it all himself. So he's pretty good at getting in and out of the car. We do it quite a bit. And like I said, he's working on driving. So I'm pretty excited because then that'll make him a little more independent. And I can also go away and leave him alone for a little bit longer to teach or travel, go stay with family if he can't come. And in case you didn't know, we have 5 cats. So they're a lot to take care of. And poor Mama Kitty has to take medicine twice a day now. So anyway, but that's the least of our problems. But anyway, that was just some exciting news I have that's going on. So we're excited about that. So next big thing, Morning Glory Needleworks is now on Instagram. It's been on there for a long time. I just never used it. I set up the account years ago, but now I'm on there all the time. Well, not all the time, but every day. And I'm posting pictures. I post pictures of my antique samplers, what I'm working on, classes I teach, charts I have for sale, just all that. So it's just another way to be in touch. I know a lot of people aren't on Facebook. I'm on Facebook too. I think I have 4 or 5 Facebook accounts. With the Morning Glory Needleworks has its own. Stitch of the Month is a group I admin. It's my group. And then I actually have 2 different Facebook pages myself. One's more of a personal one and one is more of my needlework and business type, but they're both under Dawn Fisher. So anyway, but I'm very excited. I've got a lot of followers. I'm following a lot of people. So we're doing a lot of sharing. So anyway, if you're looking for it, I'm going to put a link to it again in the description, but it is MG Needleworks, all one word, lowercase, whatever, MG Needleworks. That is my Instagram page. So if you would like to follow that, just follow the link, and you can follow me on Instagram, and then I will follow you also, and we can see what each other are doing. So as always, I try and bring in, as I've said before, I have a lot of antique sewing items, anything from scissors to pin cushions to chatelaines. I'll have to do one on that. But for this time, this FlossTube, I want to talk about my vintage toy sewing machines that I have. I love them. I have a few. I'm going to talk about. I actually have more, but these are the ones I'm going to talk about this time. But they're a lot of fun. They're just sweet. And I actually collect sewing machines also. I have 3 featherweights and several other sewing machines. And I don't know why, because I really don't sew that much. But I love my featherweights. So that's a whole nother FlossTube video. But so the first one, I'm just going to talk about a few of these. The first one I want to talk about, this one's really cute. Now, some of these are in pretty rough shape. You can see this one's pretty rusted up. And I just buy them because I like them. I just thought this one was cute. It's a little bit different. It's plastic, and tin plate. And there's a crank here. It's crank powered. It doesn't work very good. I think I could force it. Yeah, it will go up and down. Here's the other side of it. It's pretty much the same on the front and back. This is a Comet. It's called a Comet Crystal. And it's made in England by EMG Limited. So, and it's all metal except for this is plastic and this wooden handle. But girls would get these. You can see here's for your spool. There's a little lever in the back to bring your needle up and down, or your foot up and down, I should say. So it works like a regular sewing machine, except it's hand crank. And you'll notice all the ones I hold up have these holes. Now, these sewing machines actually came with a clamp. So this would clamp on the table so it wouldn't move around. It's actually fairly heavy. It's not crazy heavy, but obviously I can hold it with one hand, but they're not really light. But anyway, the clamp would have a metal bar that would go all the way through. And then this would sit on the table, and it had like a half circular clamp, just like a regular C-clamp. And you would screw it down and it would clamp to the table. Now, I don't have clamps for any of my machines, but actually while doing research on these, I found out that they had clamps. So I'm always learning more. So the next one I want to talk about, this is by K&B or K&E. So it's K-A-Y-A-N-E-E. Capital E-E. So it's K&E. This is a Sew Master. And these were manufactured in Germany post World War II by the K&E Impex Corporation of New York. And the metal label on this, you can't see, it's a little corroded, but right here it says, let's see, it's the metal label says Berlin, made in Germany, US zone. And on this one, unfortunately, the metal handle, it actually just broke. So I'm going to try and fix it. It kind of, these are older. So the handle actually just kind of crumbled. So I'm going to try and put it back together. This is the front. Here's the back, again, with the little, for the foot, goes up and down, just like a regular sewing machine. Here you can see the bottom of them. They all pretty much look like this on the bottom. This one actually moves. It must have something to do with the clamp, how it clamps on. Yeah, this one doesn't have the hole in the back like the other one did. So anyway, but this was manufactured, like it says, in Berlin in the US zone. So this was obviously right after World War II when they had various zones in Germany. Now, this next one I want to talk about, this is I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Casige, maybe Casige. And it says on it, it says Casige Gesh M 1470. It says on it here. You can see this shows, this one actually has imprinted on it, made in Germany in the British zone. So this was, again, made during the occupation of Germany by the Allied forces following the war from 1945 to 1949. That's what, when I researched this, that's what it said. But you can see, I don't know if you can see it, it probably won't come through clear enough, but there's like an eagle and it says Casige. I'm not sure how to say it. But anyway, this is this little sewing machine. Again, this one you can see it goes all the way through. There's your bottom again. They all have this metal piece of metal here. And I think that's where the clamp goes through and goes under that piece of, oops, under this piece of metal to hold the little sewing machine in place. This one's in pretty good shape. It's not real corroded. And it's got a cute little wood or cardboard, like a flower shape there. This one actually has a little screw on the end so your spool of thread doesn't fall off. So that's very cool. And this one, here's your crank. This is pretty hard to crank, but you can see these don't have, this one doesn't have a needle in it. But there's, and this one's all metal. The last one was too, they were all metal, where the first one had plastic and metal. This one is all metal. And then here is another one. This is by the same company. Now, again, this one's in pretty rough shape. It's got, trying to get it so you, it does have a lot of rust and wear on it, but it's very, here you can see the end there. You can see the, well, the light kind of shines on it, but it says there's the eagle and it says Casige on it. This one is very corroded, but if you look closely enough, it also says, this is a 1025. There's actually here on the back, you can see it says 1025 there. It's kind of hard to see, but this has a very Art Deco design on it. It's a beautiful, other than it's pretty rusty, and it has a little wooden handle here. And this one, they actually put a, it's got a piece of cork over the needle because it does have the needle in there. So, and this one actually works pretty good. This one goes up and down pretty good. And again, here's your little thing. Oh, my foot doesn't work. Something that would have to be fixed. But these are just for display. I have them. I've told you about the big, huge case I have in our dining room. And these all just sit along the top of that case. But this is a really pretty one. Like I said, and again, it was made in Germany in the British zone, probably about the same time frame. So that's that one. Now this one is kind of fun. This one, I actually had this for sale in our store when we had it. This is electric. You can see, tell it's pretty old. Here's the little cord on it. It doesn't look like it was hardly used. This is a Straco Electromatic. It's an actual electric sewing machine. And again, this says it was probably made around the same time frame, even though it's electric, because it says on the label here, or on the metal plate here, again, it's engraved in there, made in Germany, British zone. This one's much heavier than the others. This one does not clamp to the table because it's heavy enough to sit in place. Here's the back side. I love the decoration on it, and it's red. I love red. And this one again has the neat cardboard flower for the spool. The spool came with it. This one, no, I think it was the next one I talked about, had a bunch of spools of thread that came with it. Again, here's your eagle on the back and on the front. But, and like I said, this one's in really nice shape. It probably, I don't think I've plugged it in yet, but this one would probably work. Here's the emblem here on the front of this also. But this one, it's heavy. It's a heavy machine. But one of the best things about this, it actually has the box. You don't very often find the boxes with them. And the boxes, I actually taped it up because it was falling apart. But it has the eagle on it, Sigi or Cassigi, whatever. And this one actually says General Merchandise Company, Milwaukee 1, Wisconsin. Anybody remember before zip codes? There was a number sometimes in between, and it says the same thing. That's on the tape. So it was probably shipped over and then sold by this company and put in these boxes. So again, this tape has the seal on it, but I just thought this was really cute. It doesn't have the book or anything with it, but it's a really wonderful little sewing machine. One of these days I need to plug it in and try it out. It's even maybe a newer plug. No, it doesn't have the, sometimes when they have the new plug, one's bigger, but this one is like in perfect condition here. So the next one I want to talk about, this is my pride and joy. This is, I actually have 2 of these, but this one is the best, and it is actually still in the box. This is a Singer Sew Handy 20 little toy sewing machine. These were originally introduced in 1910, and it was very different than any of the other toy sewing machines that were out there. It had a single chain stitch and required, it says on the website, required just 40 components to make. It had a cast iron body, and it had a cast iron body. Now this one here was actually made in the 1950s, and they had their 4th major change. And it's a different look to the sewing machine. It has a aluminum body, which makes it lighter, and a rectangular base, and then a full stitch width plate and an enclosed mechanism. So this one comes in black, tan, or cream, and if you can find them, they actually come in red or blue, but they're very rare in those colors. And later versions of this actually had an electric motor, which was built into the base. So let me open. Here's the wonderful box it came in. Let's see, it has a practical sewing machine for children, safe, sturdy, is what it says on the outside. The bottom is just a basic box. Oh, here it also says a real sewing machine. I love her. That looks very 50s to me. So take it out. This I also love. This wonderful little book. You see how diversified everybody is. This is pretty major for, this book is dated 1955, so it's really old. That's also the year I was born, but we won't go there. So this says Singer 20. Here's what the little machine looks like. I'll pull it out in a minute. Somebody, you can see, somebody actually sewed through the cardboard here. I don't know why, but here's the first page, and this is how you would clamp it to the table. I do not have the clamp. It did not come in the box with everything else, but I just love this book. It has no words in it, and it has all these cute little animals. I don't know what they have to do with sewing, but it just demonstrates how the machine works, how to thread it. This shows how to thread the machine and how it works. Here's how you use the crank handle. Don't get impatient. I'll show you the machine. And this again just demonstrates how to check your stitches, how to remove them. It looks like it does make a chain stitch. I don't know if you can see that. Shows a little chain stitch, but this book is just so cute. because there aren't, like I said, there's no written words. It's all just, here's your tension rod. Not quite sure what this thing does. I'd have to try it out. It's the tension on the bottom bobbin. And here's how to sew, how to trim. And the little figure there showing, hey, do this, do that. This is your width there. And here is how to oil it, how to take care of it. There's your ducks. Don't know why. And on the back, again, you can see it. It's on the, you see it more, for some reason, they sewed on the cover of the book here. And this one, when I bought it, it actually had all these wonderful wooden bobbins that came with it. 2 Ziploc bags of wooden bobbins that just happened to be in the bag with it. But this machine is like in perfect condition. It's beautiful. I don't know if it was ever used. These are they can be very expensive. I don't remember what I paid for this one. I also have a black one, but it may be packed away somewhere. But this one, I mean, it is beautiful. It doesn't look like it was ever used. It has no corrosion on it. I've just kept it in the box here. Actually, it has been used because they sewed through this. And there's a little bit of fabric that was packed in the box also. But you can see this is where the clamp, it would clamp on the table. I would assume, yes, because that's the front of it. So that's where, again, I don't have the clamp, but that's where the clamp would hold. And then you would sew, and it's maybe locked down. Oh, there we go. It needs a little bit of oil. I'll have to read the directions. This does have a needle in it, so you can see the needle going up and down. Well, maybe it's pretty tight. I don't want to damage it, but here's your foot. Again, goes up and down. Here is where your, let me get this, and you see that this is where the bobbin would go. Here's this little lever that they showed for tension, but this is it's a wonderful machine, and I love it. I probably could use it if I would clamp it to the table and use it. It says, I think it says something on the bottom here. I can't read it, but anyway, if you want to get more information about this, I put a link also to the singersewinginfo.uk website. And then there's a section on toys and the mini Singer, which is what this is. The other ones, my black one, it looks just the same. That one, I don't have the box, so it's not in as nice a shape. But this one, I think it was barely used. It's really, really very nice. And then it actually came with some, this is a package there. I think oil leaked on them, but this is a package of pins. Here's some sewing needles from Kmart. And this actually has sewing machine needles, 2 packages of sewing machine needles. These are 24 by 1, 3 size 14, and this says 60 to 80 cotton, A and B silk. And this one says 60 cotton and A silk, but they're both the same type of needles. And this, unfortunately, this looks like it got really damaged. This is a, it looks like it got oil on it. This is a package of needles. Again, I don't, there may have been some oil, maybe a tube of oil, the sewing machine oil in here, or grease that leaked out. But here's another little package of needles. But anyway, so that is my wonderful collection, or some of them, of my cute little toy sewing machines. So again, I will keep every time talking about something in my collection. So if there's anything you'd like to learn about, and maybe I'd like to learn about it, because I learned just in researching these, I actually learned some stuff. So I always enjoy learning about the items I have. So again, if there's anything you want to learn about, put it in the comments, or anything you have. Do you have toy sewing machines? I may post a few pictures on Instagram about these. So I just want to kind of connect everything between Instagram and Facebook and these videos. So next, I want to talk about, as I'm talking about every time, you guys have kind of followed with me. This is my Sary Outfil reproduction sampler. This is dated actually at the end of this row, or the next row, I think. The year is put in. So I'm very excited about that. And this row here, or this section, now this sampler, as I've said before, I broke it into 10 sections because some sections are over 3 threads, some sections are over 4 threads, and it was very hard to chart it all in one chart. So each section has its own chart and information and hints, suggestions, diagrams, whatever is needed for that section. This is section 4. So this is section 3 up here, which was cross stitch over 3 threads. This section is all pretty much satin stitch, except a little bit of like 4-sided stitch on these bands. So in this section, she actually has her name, and this says Sary Outfil is my name, and with my needle, and that's how far I got up. That says needle, and she actually said, with my needle I wrought this same. So that's the next line of words. Now I'm almost done with this row here. So my needle, and I think it has I don't have the chart with me in the room here with me, but then after this row, there'll be another band of just these decorative satin stitches that separate each band. And then the bottom row is the rest of the verse about her name. And then again, she puts a year. Here it says 1709, but then at the very bottom of the sampler, now this sampler, it's about 6 3/4 inches wide. This is 46 count linen, which is the same count linen Sary used. So this is matching pretty close to the original in size. This is a little bit lighter. Obviously her linen was very browned and faded, but I think this kind of matches what it probably was originally. I didn't want to use white, and so I actually coffee dyed this linen. So, but I am just loving this. It's a little challenging, especially going over the 3 threads. You really have to concentrate and pay attention, because it's very easy to go over 1 thread too many, or 1 thread too few, and miss one. And it's kind of, I'm making notes as I go, because I'm going to have to write out instructions on how you would think it would be very easy just to satin stitch squares, but each square is 3 threads wide, but each stitch is actually 4 steps. So the satin stitch is 4 straight lines wide for 1 stitch, which is over 3 threads, if that makes any sense. So anyway, I'm like I said, I'm going to be charting out a lot of this, diagramming out how to do some of the letters that are a little more challenging, and giving hints. And as I've been working on this, I've kind of, people asked me if I was going to teach it or release it as a chart. And I'm not sure at this point, but I've been thinking about teaching it. Now, because it's so huge, it's 36.5 inches long, finished, I may just do a smaller sampler to go with it that teaches some of the more challenging parts of the sampler. And then that way you would have a miniature sampler to go with the big sampler. So the class would be on the miniature sampler. There's a section with quite a bit of detached buttonhole stitch, which is very hard to diagram because I use a computer program to diagram and it doesn't do the curved lines very well. So I'm still working on that. That one's almost easier. It's not a difficult stitch, but it's hard to explain without doing it in person. So anyway, that's something I'm thinking about. And so let me know, would you be interested in taking a class? I don't know if it would be a 1 or a 2-day class. I would have to see how much is involved in this, but you would be able to finish the smaller sampler fairly quickly and then use it as a reference to work on the big sampler. So again, something I'm thinking about. I know some people don't want to take classes and some people like to take classes. So I will leave it up to you. Actually, I will make a decision later on, but just, kind of give me your comments and other suggestions on what you think on whether this should be taught or just sold as a chart. I look forward to hearing from you on that one. So next, I've been trying to talk about every time some of my antique needlework. So this time I'm going to talk about an antique sampler I have. I'm going to pull it up and show it and talk about it a little bit. And last time I talked about one of my teaching pieces. So I think what I'll do is every other video, like this one, I'll talk about an antique sampler I have. And then next time I'll either talk about a teaching piece or one of my designs that I have for sale, or again, something I teach. So, I'm just trying to give everybody a variety of antique sampler and new designs. So that is what my plan is for now. So now I'm going to talk about a wonderful sampler in my collection. So this sweet sampler was originally stitched on 40 count linen using silk threads, and the sampler itself is about 12 inches wide by 13 3/4 inches high. And according to this sampler, Helen Crozier stitched this sampler in 1836 when she was 6 years old. The stitching is beautiful. It's exquisite. It's amazing to me that a 6-year-old could have stitched this. Either it was stitched in her honor or she actually stitched it when she was 6 years old. So I don't have any other information about this. I haven't been able to find anything about Helen. I'll have to do some more research on this. So, but I just love it. And what you can see in this smaller area where it says age 6 years, the entire border is stitched in eyelet stitch. Helen's name and the date, March 24, 1836, are all stitched in eyelets. And the second alphabet and part of the band below it are stitched in 4-sided stitch. So you can see the large alphabet here, which is an eyelet, and then the second row below it, the smaller alphabet, is stitched in 4-sided stitch, and then that zigzag band below that is also partly 4-sided stitch. So these photos show how tiny and fine these stitches are. You can see here's the 4-sided stitch and the these numbers here. The one you can see it best on the 2 and the 4, how dark they are. That is 4-sided stitch, and you can see the eyelet stitches. There's an entire band there of, I think it's 3 different colors of eyelet stitch. But this sampler is just fabulous. Oh, and you can see on the picture on the right under Helen's name, there's crowns on each side, and those are also done in eyelet. She must have really loved eyelet stitch. Now I want to show you the actual sampler. I have to be very careful because this is loose in the frame and the glass is loose. But you can see it's fairly large, and I love this frame. It's I believe it's lacquered, but this when I take it out of the frame, you can see on the glass where this is touching the glass, and it is you can actually see the sampler on the old glass and imprint or dust of the sampler. But I want to show you the back. I'm actually gonna, you can see here's cardboard here in the center. I'm going to take it out of this frame. Okay, so what I've done, I've taken the sampler out of the frame. You can see it much better now. See all the beautiful eyelet stitches that she used. But this, you don't very often get to see samplers out of the frame unless you buy them. But you can see that this sampler is actually nailed to a board. I don't know if you, there, that side, you can see better. Here's all the nails. It's nailed to this board. You can see where it's rusting. That's very common. See, it's coming apart a little bit here. And on the back, cardboard and wood. So this is not how you want to frame a sampler, and they don't do it like this anymore. There are little nails holding the sampler in. One of these days, I am going to take her off this board, but until I'm prepared to do that and store her some other way, I do have an acid-free box, and I wrap them in muslin and other things. I've taken several classes and gone on some tours on restoration. I'm no expert, but I at least know how to store them. But I'd like to reproduce it. It's really a lovely, lovely sampler. I'd like to see what colors are on the back. You can see this is actually a really pretty red, and this is green, and then there's like browns and golds, but who knows what colors these actually are. Here you can see the selvage edge of the fabric here woven in. This piece of the selvage is breaking away. But anyway, that's the sampler for this FlossTube. That's Helen Crozier. You know, any comments you have on this, I would love to hear them. Let me put her down here so I don't drop her. But anyway, thank you again for watching. That's it for this FlossTube. Again, thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking my videos. Please subscribe, and then you'll be notified. I do post videos on the 1st and the 15th of every month. On the 1st, I do the stitch of the month. Last month it was satin stitch, and you can get a copy of, I did a little diagram with information on doing satin stitch. And then if you watch FlossTube number 7, I demonstrate how to do satin stitch and how you can lay the threads. So I try and teach a little something along with just showing you a stitch, how to do it better, easier. So if there's any stitches you would like to learn or have demonstrated, let me know. I would love to, I want to do what you want to know. Somebody requested satin stitch, so I showed how to do satin stitch. Before that, it was Rhodes stitch variations. So I gave a sheet with all different variations of Rhodes stitch. So again, just let me know. Is there some kind of stitch you want to learn or want to learn how to do better? Or is there an easier way to do it? So again, all the links are posted. So please go visit Instagram, all these other Facebook, Stitch of the Month, and join all these groups. And again, thank you for watching, and I will see you on May 1st, 2022.